Hey everybody, I'm Rook, welcome to the table. Welcome to a new mini-series I'm doing here. I'm titling this, Does This Beat Moth? What I did is I went ahead and took a bunch of different decks that I have constructed currently, and I'm throwing them against the Moth deck just to see what sticks. A little mini-series here while we wind down the last of the reign of Moth, and we're waiting for the new structure decks to come out. So I am playing Curseof. You guys can check out his channel. I actually just helped him commentate top 8 of his Speed Duel tournament, so please go check that out. But I am playing him, and the first deck that I'm pitting against Moth is Dinosaur Kingdom. Tried and true, that's the one that I'm currently using competitively still. I believe in the Dinosaur Kingdom. So we're going to go ahead and open this game up, and my opening hand here is pretty versatile. We have Gale Lizard, Hammerhead, Triceratops, and Kunai. And we are playing against Moth, so we're going to see Parasite Moth here. Curseof's got the Cocoon of Evolution skill here. I'm going to do a T-set with Gale Lizard and Kunai. So my goal is to try and return to hand. That's what I think is going to work against Moth with this deck, is the return to hand effects. The only problem that I'm seeing consistently is I end up using my entire hand pretty early, and that can be devastating. So Curseof's going to have Gear Freed out and set 2 cards, and he's going to try and swing into this face down. So I have the Kunai set, so I could deflect that here, but I am going to go ahead and... yeah, how valuable is this Moth? I could tribute for Dark Triceratops, but I've decided I'm going to flip... Gale Lizard. I'm going to flip Gale Lizard, and I'm going to return Gear Freed to hand. So no monsters on the field or in the grave, so I just drew Gilosaurus, so I can special tribute into Dark Triceratops. That's a really, really good play. I could have also just normaled Hyper Hammerhead and then special Gila for a bigger monster presence, and it's a little risky doing this with a tribute monster here because one Parasite Paranoid, and that pretty much wipes me out. So I'm going to try and swing for 2700 here. Dark Triceratops is buffed with a 300, and Curseof's got Spear Kribo, so that is going to defense. So 1500 defense is pretty weak. Actually, it's 18 with Dinosaur Kingdom. But like I said, if there's a Parasite Paranoid here, then I've pretty much exhausted all my resources, and there it is, the Parasite Paranoid equipping to Dark Triceratops. So now what we're most likely going to see is there's the Cocoon of Ultra Evolution, and Parasite's going to the grave. It's going to tribute my Dark Triceratops, and he can special summon the Moth from his deck. And if he has one in his hand, then he can special summon that as well, and that is extra devastating. But it doesn't look like he has a Moth in his hand. Yeah, he's going to normal summon another Gear Freed here, or that's the Gear Freed that I returned to hand the last turn. So he's got game right here. He's got game right here. That's just the beauty of Moth. So I have to Kunai Moth's attack and then take that 1800 from Gear Freed. And then next turn, I'm only left with Hyper Hammerhead. So like I said, the big pitfall of Dinosaur Kingdom is running out of resources really fast. Like, it's really good to like rush down, and sometimes it works no matter what deck you're playing against, depending on the hand they draw, but it's tough. So I just took 18 from Gear Freed and I Kunai'd the Moth. And now my main phase 1 here, I'm going to have to get some monster presence here. There's Hyper Hammerhead. It's at 18 with Dinosaur Kingdom. So typically, another thing you can do with Hyper Hammerhead is you can slam it into that defense Moth, take the life point damage, but Moth goes back to hand. So that kind of ruins the Moth presence. I'll also set this Dust Tornado here as he's got a heavy back row, 2 back row. And 1800 I can either crash with Gear Freed, which just ensures my defeat next turn, or I can slam it into Moth and take this damage. It's going to be 1200. He's got the Windstorm. He does not want that Moth to leave the field, and for good measure. Hyper Hammerhead's defense is only 1500 with Dinosaur Kingdom, so Gear Freed's going to be able to beat this over next turn, and then Moth is going to attack for game. So I got the Dust Tornado. I'm just going to Dust Tornado the back row. It's a Forceful Checkpoint, but I had no hand, so Forceful Checkpoint isn't really going to work here. So just kind of a wasted Dust Tornado there on my end. But yeah, he's going to put them both in attack. I have no hand. Like I said, resources completely exhausted here. And we're going to see Gear Freed most likely beat over the Hyper Hammerhead and then the Moth swing for game. He does have a normal summon, so he can certainly put out another monster as well. But we see a clear path to victory here for Curseof. Yeah, both in attack mode. He's going to set a monster for good measure. That Gear Freed is going to beat over Hyper Hammerhead. It does return to hand, but yeah, that Moth's going to swing for game. So I admit defeat here. We're in the siding phase. So I actually didn't vamp this deck to side against Moth, surprisingly. I know I was really bad on my end. So I would have had Eradicating Aerosols in here. You see 2 Warrior Limb, which is not going to help me now. The Blast Sphere and the Maneater Bug I like to side because I like to switch up my sets. The only set card I have right now is Gale Lizard, and, after a game or two, it's pretty obvious that that's my set if I set a monster. So with the Blast Sphere or the Maneater Bug, that kind of mixes it up and keeps them thinking. Obviously, Blast held by a tribute's good for Gravekeeper, and then I throw a Floodgate in there. So Blast Sphere, I think, is pretty okay against Moth, because if Moth swings into your Blast Sphere and they're not running heavy magic removal, that's 3,500 to them. So I'm going to go ahead and put out Elemensaurus, put in Blast Sphere, and I'm taking out a Windstorm for Floodgate, and I also just took out a Gilosaurus for Maneater Bug. The reason why I took out a Gilosaurus is because typically with the Moth deck you're going to see monsters in the grave. You think about Parasite Tributing, Maneater Bug. Now they can shuffle that back in with the skill, but usually you see a monster or two in the grave. So one less Gilosaurus. And my opening hand is Maneater Bug, Dark Triceratops, Gilosaurus, and Night Beam. Do run the 2 Night Beam here, so he set a T-set and he's going to pass to me. I can special Gila into Dark and get some sweet piercing damage here, but if that's Maneater Bug, then that just blows all my resources. I can at least Night Beam the back row. And we do know he runs Sphere Karibo. So Sphere Karibo could also protect him here. We could either see a set Maneater Bug, special summon Gila. I don't see a reason not to special summon Gila, and we can of course set the Kunai. So we're going to go ahead and activate Night Beam on the back row. We're ready for intercepting. That's not going to help. I don't have any Spellcasters or Warriors in my deck, so that was completely wasted from me. Could have let that sit in the back row all game, although he could ready. He might have. Oh, he can ready for intercept his Gearfried, so he's probably using it more for him. So now I have to think: do I want to set Maneater Bug and then special summon Gila, or do I want to Gila to Dark? I got to think about what the set card could be in a Moth deck. It could be Maneater Bug. It could be one of the insects that lets them search. There's the special for Gila. And I'm going to go for it. I'm going to tribute for Dark Triceratops because this is going to do some serious piercing. Ideally, honestly, this monster is probably going to be bad. Ooh, actually, that's Legion. So not Maneater Bug or not anything that's going to search for Parasites. So that's actually pretty good on my end, but that is going to be some serious piercing damage for Curseof. He's losing 1200 there, but he is able to search for, okay, Mystical Elf. Interesting card from Curseof there, playing Moth just a little differently here. Luckily, nothing that's going to immediately wipe my Dark Triceratops off the field, and you can see I only have the 1 card in hand. It's a huge setup to get Dark out that early, and if he has a Parasite, then we've just lost all the resources. Let's see what he has. There's Parasite, equipping a Dark Triceratops, and I only have a Kunai here. I can't pop that, and he's going to activate Cocoon of Ultra Evolution, so he's going to tribute my monster. Same deal. Search in the deck for the Moth, and if he has a huge bug in his hand, he can special summon that as well with Parasite's effect. And he's going to normal summon the Gearfried, so he didn't have any big Moths in his hand. Battle phase. This is very similar to last time. I have to Kunai this Moth, and I got to take the 1800 from Gearfried. It was almost the same situation. So that drops me all the way down to 22. I'm just trying to play, you know, so both games I got Dark Triceratops out, which is huge. It's a really big play typically, but against Moth it's not helping me, so I gotta set the Maneater Bug. I drew a Hyper Hammerhead, so I can't use that monster. I have no back row. Best case scenario is that he attacks me with Gearfried and I flip Maneater Bug to pop the Moth. He's probably gonna swing with Moth first, anticipating the Maneater Bug, or he's anticipating the Gale Lizard. So actually it makes more sense to swing with Gearfried. Yeah, he's gonna swing with Gearfried. I can flip and pop Moth. So it keeps me alive for 1 more turn. And let's see what I have against this deck here. And there's another set card as well. So that could be, I don't know, it might be another Legion. Alright, we have a Night Beam, and he has no back row. So I have to normal summon Hyper Hammerhead. Or maybe I can set it as a bluff. Hyper Hammerhead in attack mode is 1800 with Dinosaur Kingdom, which would crash into Gearfried. I'm going to normal summon it. Do I want to take my chances and swing into the set monster? If the set monster is a Maneater Bug, it's just going to kill me next turn anyway. Let's see what it is. Oh wow, look at that, Maneater Bug. So that's putting me to grave and leaving him wide open for 1800 next turn. If he has another normal monster, then this is the game. Mystical Elf, that's right. I forgot that he ran that. Oh my gosh, he's going to win with Mystical Elf. Yeah, and there's my Night Beam, so wow. Okay, so does Dinosaur Kingdom beat Moth? According to that match, no, it does not. There are some variations of Dinosaur Kingdom, obviously that's the one I'm playing, but it does not. But guys, I'm planning on doing quite a few of these while we wait around for the new structure decks, just throwing a bunch of decks at this Moth deck or other Moth decks. I'm going to be playing a bunch of people and asking myself, does this beat Moth? I hope you guys like this. Please feel free to stick around as more will come, and I'll catch you guys later. See ya.